Everyone in the audience. Hi to everyone behind the computer screen. My name is AurionSkydragon, and this is Romancing SaGa Minstrel Song Remastered, the first of many sagas that we have on our lineup this week. I'm going to be running a category called 10 Fatestone Saruin New Game, and what that basically entails is I am going to be fighting a powered-up version of the game's final boss, known as 10 Fatestone Saruin, or 10FS for short. Normally has a few restrictions in play before you can face him. The most notable one being we need to be on a New Game Plus. But using some interesting glitches that were introduced in the remaster, not found in the original. We're actually going to make the impossible possible today, and we are going to defeat 10 Fatestone Saruin starting from a completely blank new game file. So before we get started, I do believe we have a naming incentive to square away first. So RJ, what is the name of our protagonist going to be for today?
It looks like we will be naming Gray Kingston.
All right. Thank you very much for donating to that. Time is going to begin once I select new game here, and time is called on the final save at the very end. So I'm ready to kick things off if everyone else is. All right, cool. Let's get things started off with a countdown in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so Kingston it was. There we go. All right. So, whenever we start a new game of Minstrel Song, we are prompted to select one of 8 different protagonists. The one we're going to go with today normally goes by Gray, but today he'll be known as Kingston. And so his story opens up with a very simple premise. He is a treasure hunter, or he's a free-spirited adventurer on the hunt for treasure to the island of Lagao. And he has 2 companions with him, Galahad and Miriam. And that's kind of it. We're pretty much thrown right into the thick of things, given pretty much free reign over where to go, what to do, almost immediately. And so our first order of business is to actually get off the island, because we're not going to look for treasure here. And that starts by hitting an invisible flag. By earning enough money, we can get the boat to appear early. And so we just sell a couple of items to hit that flag very easily. It's about 200 and some change. And as you can see here, we are dismissing our party members before we even get a chance to know them. But rest assured, they're going to come back in pretty important ways later on in the run. So yeah, now we're off to the mainland. We have some other objectives we would like to hit first. And so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to hit up a couple of towns, going to pick up a few maps to enable fast travel for when we visit them later. Fast travel is a nice little quality of life addition that was added to the remaster of Minstrel Song. And speaking of quality of life, you probably noticed by now that this game is running pretty fast. That is because the remaster also added a speed up feature. And so we have things cranked up to 3 times the normal speed, and that will not be changing anytime in the foreseeable future. So needless to say, it makes things a little challenging to commentate, but we're gonna power through it. Luckily, we have some slower moments in the run where we'll kind of try and play catch up. Yep, there we go. And kind of case in point, we're actually about to do a little glitch here. You can see the Minstrel has a locked weapon on his person, and basically the gist is I'm going to try and put the game in a glitch menu state where I can control 2 menus at the same time. Through deliberate manipulation, we can actually remove that locked sword, and we're going to put it on Gray for the time being. That is going to be a nice damage upgrade for him, and it also has a unique ability on it that will be useful for the final battle. All right, and so next up, we are doing a couple things here. We're going to pick up a quest called Test of Courage, which we're about to go do. We also recruited Sif in our party, and immediately giving her the boot. Not because we don't like Sif, we love Sif, but we just need her to open up a few areas on the world map. And we're actually going to have Kingston here solo the first bit of the run. And so, we come here to do Test of Courage. It basically involves scaling to the... I actually just realized, and I'm glad I noticed this before we got too far in, I forgot to equip some map proficiencies. So we're going to skedaddle out of here real quick. Going to head back to one of the towns. Yep, here we go. Find chest, climb, and jump. Okay. So back to Mount Scurv, as we were. So yeah, our objective is to make it to the top of the mountain to retrieve a feather that belongs to the Elemental Lord of Wind named Avi. We do this for a couple of reasons early on. The feather that we get is something we can sell. Sells for a lot of money, about 5,000 gold right off the bat. And using another glitch that involves very similar menu manipulation that I did with the Minstrel Sword, we're actually going to use that to bankroll the rest of our run and take care of all of our financial needs. And along the way up here, I'm getting into a number of battles. This is for event rank, which I'll explain that a little bit later. But I have a very specific number of battles I want to fight. And then if I go over that, I'm going to start running away. But yep, we have one more screen to go to. Another thing I did before coming here was leveling Gray's trader class to 2. Whoops, didn't mean to do that, because then that happens. Yeah, this is why we want the Minstrel Sword. These demons are kind of resistant to magic, so having a nice powerful slashing weapon to deal with them helps resolve those combats pretty quickly. Alright, so by my count, this will probably be the last battle we'll want. This should put us to battle rank 2. And again, I'll explain what all that entails a bit later. So yeah, the reason we leveled Gray's trader skill to 2 was so that we could get his survival skill to level 2 so that we can use the climb proficiency to scale up this final screen here. And map proficiencies are useful abilities that aid in exploration. As we see there, climb up walls, you can jump over gaps, gather resources, sneak past enemies. They're very useful. So we made it to the top, we picked up our feather, and we will now be greeted by Avi himself. He's going to ask us for a favor. He wants us to go visit his friend Pyrex and return an item for him. We're not actually going to follow through with that, but we do want to go to Mount Tamae, which is another reason why we do this quest first. So we open up access to it a little bit earlier. So we have a few resources under our belt now, and our next order of business is to strengthen our party, but first we actually need to build a party first. So that's what we're working on now. I'm going to be hopping between pubs here, looking for a very particular character named Jamil. Jamil is super critical to the run. In fact, there he is. We just wedge ourselves in there. And here we go. This is Mr. Early Game. He is going to help us get through this, the early stages of the game pretty much single-handedly. And we're going to come to Uso and pick up our third, which is the Pirate Captain Hawk. And these three are going to form kind of the core of our party. We're pretty much going to be building entirely around them. And I mentioned the game goes kind of fast, so that glitch I mentioned where we're going to bankroll the rest of our run using the Avi's Feather, that's where we do this. So we need to put an item we can sell in the first slot, and that Avi's Feather in the second slot. We are going to put the game in that put the menu in that glitch state once more, and we're going to carry the state to the shop, and if we do this correctly, we'll be able to trick the game into buying items from our own inventory. Oh, don't have enough money. And now the menu is a little dark, but we can fix that, I think. I think we can fix it. Let's see. I actually forget the backup to fix this real quick, but we can actually... do you mind if I do a quick restart of the game? Okay, yeah, shouldn't take just a moment. Yeah, just quick close out.
Mind if we read a couple donations while we get fired back up? We have a $10 donation from Anonymous that says, looking forward to the SaGa runs, and shout-outs to the community. And then we also have a $10 donation from Plush Mayhem that says, the Kingston.
The Kingston. All right, there we go. Just wanted to get the menu a lot more visible for you all. That was my fault. I accidentally purchased... I must have purchased something a little earlier I shouldn't have because that threw off my money count. But we got that nice and resolved now. So on with the run. Yep, we are going to duplicate the Obby's Feather a few times. Like to get about 12 of these total. So we're going to just do this for a little bit. And we might get just a little bit more because I honestly kind of... okay, I accidentally messed it up there, but that's okay. We'll just go right back in. Yeah, if you do the inputs a little too fast, the inputs will get dropped. So timing is pretty key. I think I just got a little ahead of myself there, trying to make up for the lost time from that little blunder. So yeah, I'll do 2 more just to be safe. So we've got all these feathers, and we're going to sell them all. Oh yeah, that's way more. All right, cool. And so that is going to take care of all of our upcoming finances. We're going to buy 2 of these to increase our agility. Most of the money that we earned is going to go toward purchasing magic. We have quite a few spells we want to learn. Going to go here, pick up some demonology. We love demonology in this run. Mostly after that precious Mind Blast spell at the very end there. And I'm going to be hopping between towns after this, picking up some more spells. Most of the... Oops, that is not where I wanted to go. We want Crystal City. Okay, then go to the Temple of Mirsa. Also, say hi to Galahad once more. We will be seeing him again. He has a very important role to play, a role that only he is capable of. All right, then we're going to hit up the pub, talk to the mentor. Oops. And we're going to use those jewels we got from doing Test of Courage to turn Jamil into a Rosalian Mage. And Rosalian Mages are capable of spell synthesis, which, again, is something I will be talking about later once we get a better demonstration of what it's capable of. And then we're going to come here to purchase enough spells to give our 3 party members a total of 10 magic spells so that they achieve magic mastery. And this is basically going to reduce the costs of their spells in battle. We're also going to pick up a couple more proficiencies. So we're going to be relying pretty much entirely on magic for this run. So I'm also going to pick up some gear that will both boost our intelligence and our agility. So we're going to put on everything that we've got. I don't know if you want to take over for a little bit, RJ, while we get set up here. Got anything to share?
Sure. I see a lot of hype in chat for the Whale Lord plushie, so I want to bring up that if you stick around later in the week, specifically when the Final Fantasy X run starts, you can make a minimum donation of $75. Not all at once. Could be cumulative throughout the time period. You could win that plushie, and he could come and sit for your runs.
Yes, he's very glorious, and I'm very grateful to the person that I brought him up for this run. Yeah, mention things go pretty quick. We're coming up to yet another glitch involving 2 inputs at the same time. Kind of a recurring theme with all the glitches here. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to try and release my mouse button at the exact same time I press down to highlight this move silently that's already selected, and as you can see, I've got it equipped twice. Once we use that out in the field, it's going to have a pretty unintended effect, shall we say. So just kind of keep that in the back of your head. We're going to have a demonstration of what that does in a few minutes. So yeah, we come back to Mount Tamae and find out that the town is besieged by monsters. So we're going to head to the bar, see what's up, talk to this guy here. He says they're coming from Mount Tamae, which is where Pyrex calls his home, and we're going to go pay him a visit. As we heard from Avi earlier, go see if he might be behind all of this. And along the way, yeah, you probably noticed we fight we take a lot of encounters in this run, and not going to sugarcoat it. We do a lot of battles in this run. This game's progression is very unique. Ties back to what I was talking a little earlier about event rank. And basically, the game's structure, you can kind of think of it as, like, if you distill it down to its most basic elements, after you pick your character at the very start of the game, you play through their introduction, and then you take a gigantic leap all the way to the very end, where you do one of 3 ending quests, and then you fight the final boss, and you beat in the game. And in between that gigantic gap, just imagine John Madden kind of coming in there and just drawing lines and arrows pointing in every which direction. And that kind of comprises the meat and potatoes of the game. And yeah, and so to become eligible for one of those 3 end quests, there's only one hard requirement, and that is simply get your event rank to 20. And to increase your event rank, there's only one way to do that, and that is by winning battles. So, needless to say, this run is primarily centered around doing a lot of battles as we accomplish some more minor objectives. And as you can see here, we have modified our party so that we can resolve battles as quickly as possible using this Mind Blast spell that we put on Jamil. And this goes back to why we made him into a Rosalian Mage. The Rosalian Mage is a class capable of spell synthesis, and spell synthesis allows us to pick a base spell, and we pick 2 additional spells in the case of the Rosalian Mage that will modify the properties of the base spell. And the particular combination we used, Mind Blast plus Wave of Life plus Wave of Strength, gives us a powered up version of Mind Blast that also costs less BP. And BP is kind of your primary resource used to perform techniques and spells. Early on, it is a very important stat, arguably the most important. And the reason why we love Jamil is because he starts with just enough BP to use that enhanced version of Mind Blast, so we can quickly resolve all of these battles, get that event rank pumping, get that climbing to where we want it to be by the end. So, yeah, while we are plowing through the rest of Mount Tamae on our way to the core, RJ, if you would like to take over with anything, that would be a great time.
Sure. You mentioned John Madden, so now I'm just imagining that the Whale Lord sounds like John Madden. Imagine him drawing lines up in hills like you go boom. But anyway.
Top acting, snacked.
So I mentioned the Whale Lord, which is actually not active for the donation zone. So let's talk about some things that are. If you don't make a donation, minimum donation of $250 up until the end of the Final Fantasy IV run, you can win a replica Buster Sword. If you make a minimum donation of $75 by the end of the Live Alive run, you can win a custom Game Boy Advance SP. And we have some game giveaways. You can, for a minimum donation of $10, you can win Bravely Default, SaGa Frontier Remastered on Switch, and then this song you could also win.
Yeah.
So get those donations in if you're interested. Not only does it help out Nami, and not only can you influence some runs with incentives, but you could also give yourself a chance to win something cool.
Yeah, I gotta say, that Buster Sword, absolutely fantastic. Whoever made that did a fantastic job.
It's absolutely massive. It's right behind me, and I'm constantly intimidated by its presence.
Okay, so I mentioned earlier that that duplicate proficiency that we put on, we are about to see that come into play once we get out of here. Jamil's going to take a quick dirt nap. Chain battles are a little scary early on because whenever you do chain battles, your BP carries over from one battle to the next, as I get juked by that that little demon there. And so we only have enough BP right now to cast like the one Mind Blast, but that's going to change pretty quickly. All right, so here we go. We're going to use that duplicate move silently, and wait a moment, and we're somewhere completely different. So that was a wrong warp. That is what happens when we do that. we ended up in the layer of Pyrex. Where you wind up to, where you wrong warp to, depends simply on the area and the game that you're in when you use it. So in that case, the 5th floor of Mount Tamae always takes you to Pyrex's lair. And it's kind of silly because where we were, Pyrex's lair was just a hop, skip, and a jump and away, but it's technically faster to do the wrong warp, so we do that instead. We'll do it again to take a shortcut back to the entrance. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Oh, all right, I have to take a slight detour. My fingers got happy feet, pressing a little too much. Okay, so next order of business, yeah, Nice Dominion. We're going to do another side quest called Pride of the Knights. We're going to go here to get that started. Going to head to this abandoned keep. We see 2 knights here, whoops, Theodore and Raphael. They need a little help clearing out this keep, so we're going to lend them a hand. They will join our party temporarily. And a slight optimization is I'm only going to have them defend because there's a chance if they do any other action, they might get some post-battle stat increases, and that just kind of takes up some time since we're not going to be using them permanently. We don't need them to get stronger. Okay, good. Jamil got that Mind Blast off. Those little rolling bugs are a bit of a problem because they have a high priority move that can stun, and if Jamil gets stunned, no Mind Blast, and that's a problem. All right, so we're going to clear out one more enemy in here, and we're going to do the wrong warp again. And so this is going to give us a one-way ticket down to the basement. And I don't know if you can tune in to the audio, but a cute little thing whenever you do the wrong warp is the victory fanfare music starts playing for whatever reason. And I find that kind of funny because it's like, congratulations, you broke the game? So, yep. So yeah, before we finish up this quest, we do like to clear out the enemies in here, mostly for the jewels. Jewel count's kind of tight early on, so trying to fish them in a way so we don't get chain battles, but didn't quite work out there. But luckily, these enemies will go down pretty easily, so now we can save the Mind Blast to sweep this one. All right, so we're gonna just keep on doing this for a little bit. And yeah, nice thing about, even though we don't really use Theodore or Raphael, just having him in the party to soak up some damage is kind of nice. And there aren't too many enemies we really need to worry about. There are some that will set off some yellow flags, but there are also some we'll run into later that will be big old red flags that can cause a problem, and we'll need to make some adjustments on the fly. All right, so that was a boss. As you can see, Mind Blast just doing the work. All right, so for our efforts, we will get some more jewels. Those will go toward turning Gray and, actually Kingston and Hawk into Rosalian mages, and they too will be joining in the Mind Blast fun. Before we leave, we talk to this lovely little girl so she can get kidnapped later. Just hitting some flags there, and we're gonna head to Altors to do what I was just saying, going to turn them into Rosalian mages, and looks like, yeah, my jewel count looks pretty good. So I want enough to turn both of them into mages, and we're also going to hit a couple of triggers, hit a couple flags to advance the Ice Sword quest that we will be doing a little bit later. And so, yeah, with those minor little objectives out of the way, now we're going to begin kind of the first... I know we've done a fair bit of grinding up to this point, but now this is kind of the first part where we're only interested in grinding our event rank. And actually, before we do that, need to give them some agility increasing items here, because we are going to have them, like I said, join in the fun. Although both of them will not be able to use it right away because their BP growth hasn't been the best. I'm actually going to keep them in the back for now. Both of them just need their max BP to go up just by 1, and then they'll be able to cast that Mind Blast at the start. So Yep, just got to be a little patient there. And that's actually a pretty good segue into talking about how characters get stronger in this game. So this game, not only just this, but most other SaGa games forego a typical leveling system where you fight enemies, you gain experience, you level up, and your stats will increase. And speaking of, we just got our BP increases, so now they can both cast Mind Blast at the round start. So yeah, and there are a lot of different variables that go into how your character's stats are raised after battle. Far and away the most important variable is the action that they take in combat. Every type of skill, every school of magic has different growth factors for all the different stats. And we're using exclusively Demonology because it has the highest BP growth in the game, or at least it's in the highest tier, and it's the one we have most easy access to. And as a bonus, Mind Blast is a Demonology spell too. So just kind of as an example of how it works, the BP growth for Demonology is 4, which is above average for that stat. And if we were to use, say, Pyrology, that has a growth factor of 3 for BP. It would average the two together, and we'd end up with a 3.5. But the way the game handles the growth factors, if they're non-whole numbers, they would round it down. So we end up with a growth factor of 3, and that ultimately shunts our BP growth. And we want those BP growths as much as possible. We have a few benchmarks we need to meet for later in the run, and early on. Having higher max BP means our starting BP is higher, which means we can enhance our spell synthesis and use some slightly stronger versions of the spells that we are using. So that's kind of how all that works. So we come here to the Shiverland, like I said, to grind out our event rank. We're going to be alternating between this little snow field and this cave for a little bit. Do about 4 clears of the field and 3 clears of the cave. This spot is nice because when you defeat enemies on the map, they don't respawn, at least not for a while. But if we alternate between the screens, they will instantly replenish. And this field here has a very high density, so it's very good for just doing some early grinding. So yeah, I feel like I've been talking for a little bit. I don't know if you'd like to interject, maybe. Yeah, maybe some announcements or some plugs.
We do have some donations that came in.
Sure, let's hear them.
We have a $10 donation from Anonymous with no comment. We have a $10 donation from Enlightening Fart. That's just a smiley face. You know what? I do feel a little better reading that. We do have a $50 donation from Kaboink that says, "Beep boop, been looking forward to RPG Limit Break all year. Excited for all the games in the lineup and loving the SaGa run. Wish I could play it that fast."
Yeah, talking about the speed is actually a nice point to bring up. Like, just how much the speed up feature has made the remaster like so much more palatable to run compared to the PS2 version. Like for comparison, the fastest PS2 runs that I'm aware of they clock in just a little under 3 hours. And that's with an HDD PS2, so like a modded PS2, for slightly reduced load times. The remaster, actually, I'll use like Shigeru's runs. Shigeru is like kind of the premier glitchless runner for the remaster, and also very accomplished in the PS2 version. Japanese runner as well, by the way. Like his fastest remaster gray run is like 1 hour and 13 minutes, and I think he has a 2:53 on the PS2. So, and as you can see, we end up doing a lot of battles. Yeah, the run is maybe about 60 to 70% just mashing that A button. So yeah, doing that on the PS2 version, it gets a little tedious. Like, there's a reason why, like, I don't think anyone in English ever ran it, and doubly so the English version of this game, because your event rank goes up even slower on that one. That was a very interesting design choice. And the remaster did actually add different options for your progression speed based on the different versions, so I thought that was really nice. But we do play on the the normal progression for the speed run. So this is going to be our last cave clear. We got a pretty big chain battle, but yeah, since we have everyone doing Mind Blast now, we have more than enough resources to handle what is thrown our way, so we're not too afraid of chain battles anymore. Alright, so... And, yeah, something else relevant to event rank is your battle rank. That is kind of a SaGa staple mechanic that it's designed to or it's made to help kind of reinforce the SaGa game's usual like open world design philosophy. The basic idea is that enemies will scale to your battle rank, which scales relative to your party's level of power, so that players are adequately challenged at all points in the game, no matter where they go. You know, it doesn't make too much sense to make an open world game and then have a bunch of areas that only have like high level enemies to the point where like there's no reason to be there early on. Like it kind of works, you know, in contrast with each other. So yeah, and as your battle rank goes up, you'll run into stronger enemies. And right now, I would estimate our event rank should be... Actually, we can check it here, because the remaster added this nice little sundial there that each little pip on the wheel indicates 1 point of event rank that you have. So we're at ER 11, so that is exactly where we want to be. And then we're going to make our way out and... do a little bit more prep work. This is actually one of the red flag enemies I mentioned earlier, so we're actually going to run from this one. These Aqua Drakes have a lot of HP, they attack very fast, they hit very hard. If anyone gets attacked before their Mind Blast goes off, they're probably getting KO'd, and we won't have the damage output to safely dispatch them. So running is oftentimes the best call to make there. All right, so I mentioned that pretty little girl's going to get kidnapped. She's been kidnapped, so we're gonna do something about it, or at least we're gonna pretend we are. So we're also gonna yeah, we're also going to train Hawk in the blacksmith skill to get his pyrology up real quick. I actually think I should have saved that for a little bit later, but that's okay. We can go ahead and do it now. So yeah, we talked to him. We learned that Constance has been kidnapped. And one of the knights we saw earlier, Raphael, turns out he's pretty lovey-dovey with Constance, but he's been framed and he's been thrown in the dungeon. They believe he is responsible for her kidnapping. So we're going to come up here and we're going to offer our assistance. This is Flamar. I believe she's like the leader of Weiserheim. We mostly come here to have her teach us some high-level pyrology spells, Bird of Fire and Revive. Both very, very nice to have in the run. And by agreeing to help, she's also going to let us loot her tower of some nice goodies. All of them very useful. The Mage's Staff is going to increase the intelligence of whoever's equipping it by 5. Oh, if I can open that chest. Blazing Sword, very important item. And the Scarlet Robe, which will also be used to pump up our intelligence. All right, so we've kitted ourselves out. We've gotten some nice new spells. Let's go see about rescuing Constance. Or you know what? I'm kind of bored. Let's go do something else. All right, so everybody likes vampires, right? So let's go do a quest about vampires. To do that, though, we need to open up the frontier. And to open up the frontier, we need to look for Barbara. So Barbara is probably the most difficult character in the game to track down. Oh, she doesn't show up in Brawl. I want... Yeah, it was North Estimere. Wait, I don't have a map here. I'm just going to alternate between... It's been a little while since I haven't gotten Barbara early on, so yeah, we're just going to alternate here. She can be in one of 8 different locations. Oh, there she is. So we're going to talk to her. And then we're going to give her the boot. We're specifically after that Weston unlock. And make sure we do not kick anyone else out. Because that's very easy to do. Alright, so yep, now we make our way to the frontier. And normally we have to cross the new road to get to Weston, but using our handy-dandy wrong warp, we arrive instantly. All right, we're going to pick up a map so we can fast travel to the pub, and we're going to pick up that quest about the vampires. And this is yet another quest we're going to start, but we're not actually going to do to completion. We actually do a lot of that in this run. We make a lot of promises and don't hold up to those. We make a lot of false promises, basically. So yeah, while we are making our way back to through the new road, RJ, if you'd like to, if you have anything to share, go for it. This would be a great time.
Sure. Let's talk about the merch store. Did you know that RPG Limit Break launched a merch store for this year? You can get anything from hoodies to coffee mugs to fanny packs. And the best part is all the proceeds from the merchandise go directly towards funding RPG Limit Break, so we can continue to bring you these awesome live events every year. To visit that store, please visit www.store.rpglimitbreak.com.
They do have some very nice merch. All right, so, okay, yeah, we did that. All right, so coming up is yet another glitch. And this is probably the most difficult one to explain, and kind of full disclosure, I do not have a full, technical understanding of how all of these work, just kind of a surface level understanding, but sometimes that's kind of all you need. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to carry that bugged menu state back here. Not getting it. So yeah, this is the blacksmith. We're going to use this to, there we go. So yep, we do that. All right, cool. Yeah, we use this to modify our weapons. And with what we just did, we've actually tricked the game into, it actually thinks we're in the sub-menu. Like after we've selected a weapon, we can choose how to modify it. But the game still thinks we're in the menu above that. And by doing this very deliberate process, we are actually able to modify this blazing sword that we just got. We're able to, there's normally a hard limit on the number of times you can modify a weapon, but by using this glitch, we can actually modify it infinitely. And so what we're after is we want a +6 DP modifier on that blazing sword. So we just got that. Actually, let's just double check. Yep, there we go. All right, cool. So with that, now we're going to go rob some graves. Kind of makes you wonder, like, what is the point of all this? Like, things kind of go pretty fast here. That's no good. Basically, we're just going to save scum until one of these graves has what we're looking for, and we're just going to keep save scumming until we find it. If we guess wrong, we either get enemies to show up or we fall through a trapdoor. Yep, it is any one of these 12. Is random every time. So, yep, we just keep checking until we get it. Oh yeah, by the way, we recruited another character named Herman while we were in Weston. He is going to be one of our final party members, and once we do this, we're also going to get, we're going to get into a battle there. I just know it. You know, I was tempted to, like, maybe ask the audience for some numbers to see if maybe they might be able to guess which tombstone it is, but I don't know, I could definitely use some help. 18, that's not within the range, buddy. That, all right, we're gonna divide that by 12 and use the remainder, so that becomes a 1.
Careful what you ask for, Arian.
All right, so it's got to be, it's literally the last one we checked.
That was the one I was gonna say.
Of course. It's always the last place you look, so it's going to be right here. All right, there we go. So we do this to get the chalice. To get the chalice, we have to start the vampire quest. This is a super duper important item. Definitely helps enable what we are going to do at the very end of the run. And we're going to wrong warp out of here and show back up at the pub. And oh look, it's Miriam. You remember Miriam, right? One of our starting party members? No? That's what I thought. All right, well, she's in our party now. And with that, we are going to... Yep, we're going to head... No, don't do this. I'm so glad I remembered this. We need to head to... Actually, no. Let's just head to All Tours. Then we're going to head to... Fall Melvir. If I forgot to do this, it would complicate the run significantly. So yeah, we need to head to the Temple of Yukam, and we need to pick up some magic for our new party members. Also get these for safety. Just some healing spells, status ailment recovery if we need it for the final boss. The main spell we're after here is that Fold Time. This will be super duper important. Then we're also going to pick up some illusion spells. And most of these, once again, we're trying to hit that that amount of 10. Oh yeah, I forgot. Just check there. Okay, their starting BP is good. All right, so we're going to head to the Mentor. We're going to level up their Pyrology. Oops. Okay. And now we are going to do another round of item duplication. This time we are going to set up, so we have got the Blazing Sword, the Mage's Staff, the Chalice, and Scarlet Robe. Alright, so we want, the Blazing Sword and the Chalice up here. We're going to do 2 rounds of this. 8, didn't get it there. Did not get it there. There we go. So yeah, at the bottom, what I'm looking for is 2 out of 3. If I get that, then I know I've done it correctly. So yeah, the funny thing about the Chalice, you're only meant to get 1 of these, but it can still be duplicated via this glitch. And we're going to make several copies, because we're going to need them. So I think for safety... Alright, did ate my input yet again. Yeah, I think for safety I like to make about 12 chalices. I don't know exactly how many we're at now, so I'm going to do 4 more. And then after this, I actually lost count already. Alright, we'll do 1 more. Okay, and then... Oops. Nope. Anytime we get like the 1 out of 3, oh, we didn't get that there. Anytime we get the 1 out of 3, we need to head back here and set this up. Yeah, while I'm fumbling through this, if you have anything you'd like to throw in, RJ, go right ahead. Be my guest.
Sure. We have a $10 donation from Airplane with no comment. And we could talk about some of the community artists that help us out, help make this event happen. So we have LKK, who designed the RPG Limit Break logo. We have Mega Weasel and It's Casa, who design several of the emotes that you can access by subscribing to RPG Limit Break's channel. And just a little tidbit, all of the revenue from the from subscriptions, bits, and the ads that we run contribute to the funding of the annual event. And support in this regard is critical to helping us put on these wonderful events year after year.
All right. Thank you very much for that.
And just real quick, I did pronounce it's LLK, not LKK. Thank you for correcting me, chat. Sorry about that.
Easy mistake to make. We all make mistakes. Case in point. All right, so we're gonna do a second round. This time with the Mage's Staff and the Scarlet Robe. So the Mage's Staff increases our intelligence by 5. Nice thing about this is we can actually equip up to 4 different weapons. So we're going to equip multiples of these on Kingston, Hawk, and Jamil to absolutely skyrocket their intelligence to absurd levels. Levels they should not be able to achieve at this stage in the game. Between the Scarlet Robe and the Mage's Staves, we... between those, they are basically going to double what their intelligence should be, and that should be enough stabs. Right, there we go. So we got the Scarlet Robe. We're going to make 5 of these total. Okay, there we go. Took a bit longer than I'd like, but sometimes you gotta take what you can get. And then lastly, we're going to round out this last bit of preparation with some demonology. Oops. All right, and so yeah, this is kind of the fruits of our labor. Going to give all these mages stabs to our characters, and you can just see that intelligence on the right there, just kind of just pumping up with everyone that we give, and the blazing sword. I'll talk a little bit more about what that does later and why it's so important. And then we load these characters up with nothing but chalices. All right. Oh yeah, now while I'm doing this, I do want to double check. The incentives for fighting death and the any % run have been met, correct?
Correct. Both have been met.
Awesome. Looking very forward to showing those off, and thank you very much for donating to that. All right, and so yeah, now that we have Bird of Fire, so yeah, since enemies get a little bit stronger, we need to up the ante at some point, and this is where we do that. Bird of Fire is the strongest base level spell in the game, I believe, and then yeah, Strength and Pull. So yeah, and it also hits all enemies, so we're gonna throw that on both Kingston and Hawk. And we're going to keep Jamil on Mind Blast because there is a chance we can run into enemies that are resistant or outright immune to fire damage. So just having a little bit of extra type coverage is very nice to have. So that's what he will be doing. And yeah, so with this preparation is going to carry us to the very end of the game. So all that's left for us to do now is to hit that coveted ER20. And that involves a lot of grinding. Again, not going to sugarcoat it. So we come back here to Mount Scurv. We're going to do a few laps around here just fighting every single enemy we can. So RJ, like at any point during this, if you'd like to step in and interject, feel free to do so. But otherwise, it's basically just going to be me monologuing for a little bit. So I'll leave that completely up to you.
Sure. Whenever you feel like it, just throw it on over.
All right. But yeah, there's definitely still a lot of stuff we can talk about. The blazing sword that we got, and its interaction with Bird of Fire. So, and this actually leads to a nice segue to a mechanic I have yet to cover called LP, or life points. So life points are another resource that characters have in this game and other SaGa games as well. Basically, when a character's HP gets depleted, their LP begins to take damage. And when a character runs out of LP in these games, well, it depends. It's a different effect in every SaGa game, but in this particular title, the character is actually just outright dead. They will be ejected from your party, and if it happens to the main character, it's an automatic game over. So LP is a pretty important resource, and it actually has a secondary effect in this game. So I mentioned earlier that BP is the primary resource used for techniques and spells and the like. There are some moves and some situations that certain moves have as I get juked by that bird, certain moves have secondary resource costs, usually in the form of DP or durability points. Every weapon has durability. Whenever you use a move that costs DP, it'll subtract it from the weapon, and when the weapon hits 0 durability, it needs to be repaired before it can be used again. There are some cases, however, where instead of durability, it will actually consume the user's life points. So using certain moves will solely kill the user. This is the case for magic, because magic doesn't use weapons, and instead will use life points. Bird of Fire is one such spell that should be consuming our life points, but actually isn't, and that's because we went through the trouble of customizing that blazing sword through illegitimate means to have that +6 DP modifier, which will lower our DP costs, and consequently our LP costs. So now we can use this spell with complete impunity to just absolutely blow through everything we come across. And like, Since we have to do so many battles, we've taken a lot of effort to just cut out as much cognition, as much effort as possible from these battles so that we just kind of mash our face across the controller and resolve them lickety-split. We basically turn the game into an auto-battler at this stage of the game. And like I said, there are a couple enemies we could run into that will require us to change our tactics a little bit. We don't like to do that because that means we can't just mash A over and over again. And speaking of mashing, I don't know if the audio is picking up the loudness from my controller. If so, I do apologize for that. It's mostly a case of whenever we get to these post-battle stat gains, literally any input on the controller advances the dialogue. So it is typically in your best interest to just mash as hard as you can. So, yeah. So yeah, how about we talk about the story for a little bit, because we haven't heard too much about that. So yeah, the game has a pretty open world structure to it. The way it's designed is you're supposed to go to various towns, uncover events, side quests, interact with NPCs and stuff. And as you play the game, you'll slowly learn that an evil god that was defeated like 1,000 years ago or so is on the brink of resurrection. He has like 3 minions that are going around, sowing the chaos in the Discord, as it were, trying to hasten their patron deity's return. And that is none other than Saruin, the main antagonist of the game. And in fact, with your event rank is actually kind of a measure of the in-game time. Like, the closer you get to ER20, the closer you get to Saruin's resurrection. And that also explains why the enemies get more and more difficult, since like they're like connected to Saruin and all that. That looked like it hurt. And so, yeah, so Saruin ends up being our final boss. And speaking of Saruin, so we're going to be fighting 10 Fatestone Saruin, and anyone familiar with the game has probably noticed by now we haven't collected any of the Fate Stones that are actually needed to fight 10 FS. And I'm here to say, don't worry about that. Everything's under control. We have something up our sleeve. Because, yeah, as your event rank increases, it also it adds new quests to become available, and it also cuts off certain quests. Some of the quests to acquire the Fate Stones are cut off early if you don't do those quests. And yeah, we've actually, yeah, I'm pretty sure the Moonstone, we've already passed the ER, or the maximum ER allowed for that. But yeah, like I said, don't worry about it. The runner knows what they're doing, I think, I hope. So.
You're doing great.
Thank you very much. I like to give off that impression when I do stuff. All right, so yeah, I estimate it usually takes about 4 full clears before we start entering the possibility of hitting ER20, and it kind of changes every run because the number of battles you get into in like every area, it's different, and even further, the number of event rank points you get from each battle, it's different as well. Like, there's a random value to it. The difficulty of enemies also plays a factor. The harder the enemies, the more points you get. So you actually do want to see harder enemies when possible for that very reason. If I had to guess, and this also just shows some of my, like, just how, like, you don't need to know literally everything about a game to run it. Yeah, like, a good runner would actually, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't like to belittle people, but yeah, like, it's usually nice to know like which like what rank each enemy is, so you can get a pretty rough feel for checking out where your event rank is on the fly. But you know, sometimes you don't really need to learn that, especially with the remaster adding this handy dandy way to check your event rank at any time from the party menu. In the original, the fastest way to check it was to go to a town and talk to an NPC, one of the volunteer brigade members, and they would like they would, or basically they function as kind of a tutorial, and the number of options displayed corresponded to where your event rank was. And it was a very roundabout way of checking that. So just another nice quality of life addition with the remaster. We also just saw a combo there. Combos are really cool. Sadly, we don't see it much in this category. The thing with, since we're relying entirely on magic, high-level magic has very poor combo ability. Like Bird of Fire, we can only combo out of it, and the moves we can, the moves that link with it are very limited. And even further, there's another spell we'll be using later that's even more of an upgrade over Bird of Fire that can't combo at all because it's a synthesized spell. Synthesized spells cannot combo, period, under any circumstances. So, yeah, combos are really cool. There's a way to amplify your damage, and they look rad as heck. And that was something that was not in the original Romancing Saga. And yeah, I guess I haven't mentioned that. Yeah, this is a remaster of a remake. The very first Romancing Saga came out on the Super Famicom in, I believe it was 1991, somewhere thereabouts. And it was the first in a trilogy. And sadly, we never saw the trilogy outside Japan. It never got localized. There were some fan translations, but nothing official. The first Romancing Song was remade in, or did I say Romancing Song? The first Romancing Saga was remade into Minstrel Song in about 2006. And that did get a translation. And this is a remaster of that remake. And yeah, the vanilla Romancing Saga, actually all of the original Romancing Saga games on the Super Famicom have some pretty interesting speedruns, to say the least. They're all pretty broken, pretty notoriously broken. Dr. Swellman actually did a really nice video that goes into detail on some of the silliness that those runs entail. And highly, yeah, if that piques your interest at all, highly recommend checking that out. And so let's see. So, yep, I've been talking for a little bit. RJ, if you'd like to interject, the floor is yours.
Okay, we do have a donation. We have a $25 donation from One Free Fits that says, "It's me again, One Free Fits. Loving the event so far. Lots of great runs already. My racing coach / cat, the Sweet Moon Prince, was upset they didn't get to come, so I'm going to try to get the main character in Grand Blue named after them."
Very cool. And Grand Blue is coming up after this, yes?
Yes, it is.
Very cool.
And there are plenty of incentives for that run, ripe for the sniping. There's you can choose the crewmates. There's a voice incentive between Japanese and English. Main character appearances, and naming the main character still very much up for grabs.
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay. So we'll take a quick ER check here. All right, so that was I think that was 16. So still got a little bit to go. I think this is our third clear if I'm keeping count correctly. So just got a little bit more to go, and then once we hit that ER20, it is full steam ahead. And I guess I'll also take a little bit of a moment to shout out some of the people that are kind of responsible for helping this run come together. Most of the glitches shown in this run were discovered by, I believe they were discovered by Paruporo, a former Japanese runner turned glitch hunter that's actually done quite a bit of work on some of the Saga remasters. In fact, the Romancing Saga 2 remaster run I'll be doing tomorrow also features a glitch discovered by him. And another Japanese runner / just god gamer in general that goes by the name of DOS helped really refine a lot of these glitches and find like some applications for them. In fact, the customization glitch was how I learned through DOS. And that was actually kind of the final linchpin to putting together a category like this, because obviously we can duplicate, we can get infinite money, we can just overpower our characters with equipment like the chalice, like the blazing sword, mage's staves very easily. It kind of ended up trivializing the basic categories. It kind of trivialized vanilla Saruin. So I began thinking, how can we push this to the next level? And so I really wanted to try and put something together where we could fight 10 Fatestone Saruin, who is a huge step up from basic Saruin. He was in fact the hardest boss in vanilla Minstrel Song, but in the remaster they came along and added some even harder super bosses that are beyond the scope of this run. Also, let me check everyone's LP. Okay, we're good. In one of my practice runs earlier this week, actually ran into an issue of my characters getting LP killed during the grind, so I'm a little bit more wary of that now. That's never happened in my previous run, so yeah, we're gonna play that a little bit on the safe side. But yeah, and so yeah, that's kind of how the idea behind trying to put together a run that fought 10 FS coalesced, and that customization glitch was kind of the last piece of the puzzle that I needed, because I needed a way to pump out as much damage as possible to burn through 10 FS's massive health pool. And if we were to go in without customizing the blazing sword, using Crimson Flare, which we'll see a bit later, our characters would slowly take LP damage, and they would be dead long before Saruin's health pool had just even moved. So yeah, being able to cast all these high-level Pyrology spells with like no consequence was like the last piece of the puzzle. So needless to say, once I learned about that, I immediately put on my routing glasses and got to work. And that's how we got this. So, yeah.
I have a question.
What's up?
Are your routing glasses the same glasses you're wearing right now? Or do you have, like, special routing glasses?
They're the same.
Oh, okay.
Oops. I wish I had something more witty for that, but
that's okay.
I'm terrible at improv.
The whale lord actually asked that. He just was a little embarrassed.
Are you guys like telepathically linked?
He's been texting me.
I'm very impressed, considering you have no like opposable thumbs.
Me too, honestly.
Or do you? Oh yeah, and so this is actually one of the red flag enemies we ran into. That little green ball there. It's called a nut. I wish it was called something else, but that's what it's called. Yeah, so those things are highly resistant to elemental damage, which Bird of Fire obviously is. So whenever we see one of those, we have to switch to the Chalice and use one of its unique moves, Holy Sparkle. Holy Sparkle deals a decent chunk of damage to demons and undead enemies, which the nut is classified as a demon. Don't ask questions. And yeah, so anytime we have to do that, yeah, it takes a little bit of menuing, takes a little bit of time. We obviously don't like that. It can also inflict shock on our spellcasters, which we don't like either, especially if it comes paired with other enemies that we want to kill with Bird of Fire. And it also has a move that can just do a bunch of damage to our front row, which is all of our damage dealers. So anytime we see it, we try to avoid them. I would have ran, but I was actually in a chain battle. And you can't run from chain battles in this game, so kind of had to play that one out. All right, so I believe these are rank 8 enemies, which means we're getting very close to the end. And also, yeah, actually something I haven't... Okay, good. Yeah, something else I needed to keep tabs on is the BP growth of Miriam and Herman. I need them to be at a minimum of 28, so they can cast a pivotal spell for the final battle, and they have met that with flying colors. Yeah, The last two characters that we add to the party, they're not super duper important, but we do have a couple metrics that we value, mostly after a high enough LP, because they're going to be casting a spell that does consume LP, and we need them to have a minimum amount of that. Like after some testing, I determined that like 12 is kind of the minimum to do the battle safely, but having a little bit more is obviously better. Miriam has 13, while Herman has a whopping 18, one of the highest in the game. And we also want them to have just not bad BP growth. Like I was actually, instead of Miriam, I was actually using another character in the game, Gelaha, who has a little more LP. It's very easy to recruit like Miriam. But the issue with him is his BP growth is not as good, so sometimes he doesn't meet the minimum BP needed. So you may end up having to do a couple extra battles at the end to get him to where he needs to be. So, but like I said, after doing some more testing, figuring out that 12 was kind of the safe spot, decided, let's give Miriam a try. And I kind of liked how she turned out. Plus, she adds a much-needed feminine touch to our party, so can't say no to that. So, yeah, let's do a vibe check on our ER. All right, we are at 19, so any battle now should put us to where we need to be. And once we do that, it becomes go time. So after each battle, I'm going to just check real quick. Once that little sundial turns kind of a reddish black, that is going to indicate ER20. Then we can abscond this place and be on with the run. Something I kind of wish was different about this run was like it really doesn't paint a good picture of what an average playthrough looks like and what the game has to offer. Like, I'd estimate we miss out on about 90% of the things you can do in this game. I do wish that was a little bit different. If we want like a more thorough category, we'd probably have to do something like all quests, which that's something I'd like maybe get around to one of these days, maybe put it on the bucket list, but that is not the case for today. This is actually another enemy that we'll alter our strategy with. This is a fire elemental, as you might imagine. Immune to fire damage. So we're just going to have Jamil cover that with Mind Blast. All right. So almost there. Like I said, any day now we'll be getting that. Ooh, Mind Blast didn't kill. Okay, well, one of these energy bolts will. All right. So we're in that final push. Yeah, so things will speed up in just a little bit. So RJ, this might be a good time to maybe get in any quick plugs or anything else you might have before we get underway with all that.
All right, we do have a $10 donation from Anonymous with no comment. Thank you so much for that. And let's just take a quick break to remember what we're all doing here for this whole week. We're raising money for NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. To get involved in the fight against the negative stigmas around mental illness, please reach out to NAMI via their state-level organizations on Facebook, where they can be found as NAMI, or on Instagram and Twitter as they can be as @NAMI Communicate. Remember, it's not a weakness to need help. Please reach out if you feel like you need it.
No, it is not. All right. So yeah, the last point is always the longest. As your event rank does increase, the number of points to go to the next rank does increase as well. So yeah, the last stretch it feels like it takes an eternity sometimes. And it's possible we also checked it. Like right as we hit 19. Not yet. So yeah, again, just to kind of remind people, once we hit ER20, we're gonna go snag one of 3 endgame quests, and oh, there it is. All right. So the grind is finally done. We can proceed with the finale. So we're going to go to All Tours, and hey, look, it's our friend Galahad, and he's holding a giant popsicle, and it looks delicious. And I demand that you share. But he refuses, so unfortunately, it comes to this. So give me just a moment. Set up for this. Your life ends 10 seconds from now. All right, quick save, and like I said, it comes to this.
You said that, and the town music was so happy.
Yeah, completely. A complete change of tone, right? All right, there we go. His popsicle is now ours. So the reason we do that, we do second choice. The reason we do that is to earn favor with Saruin himself. So I mentioned there are 3 ending quests we can get. And actually, before I go on this, actually, let me check. So yeah, we do have an incentive coming up and do need to modify the route just a little bit. So I want to make sure I do this correctly. Because once we step foot in the Netherworld, if we go back out, if we forget to do something, we will not have a way to go back in. So let's make sure we do all this correctly. So yeah, I want to make these 2 into Rosalian mages as well. There we go. And then for the incentive, we want to... Yeah, we need to pick up Sunray from Loban. All right. Yeah, so the reason we fight Galahad is to help put us on the Netherworld end quest, which is what we're going to go do now. So we talked to the Minstrel. He tells us that Saruin's resurrection is imminent, and we need to find out where he is so we can bring the fight to him before he resurrects in full. And it turns out his one of his old friends, Death, the god of death, as you might imagine, actually knows where he is. So we're going to go pay him a visit in his domain, which just so happens to be right behind Pyrex's lair. So this is why we do Mount Tamai early, to open up the shortcut so we can come back here later. And yeah, the reason we kill Galahad is to put us on the Netherworld route. Which end quest you get is determined by your favor with certain deities in this game. And to get the Netherworld, our favor with Saruin, Death, or Shirok must be at 200 or higher. And the act of killing Galahad, who is a paladin, that's a pretty evil thing. So killing him puts us on the fast track to the Netherworld. Also, this is Death's domain. We're just casually strolling into his abode. He's got a pretty sick intro, pretty cool design. We are going to ask him where we can find Saruin. And that's it, bye. But we have an incentive to fulfill, don't we? So that's what we would normally do, but yeah, let's gear up to take on the god of death himself. So this is normally stuff I would do right before the final boss, but we are going to change our synthesized spells on Kingston, Hawk, and Jamil to Crimson Flare, a really cool spell that we never get to see, but mostly due to its expensive cost. It's the highest single target damage spell in the game, and then on these 2 we put Hasten Time, another incredibly potent spell. And yeah, but you know what? Before we do that, I'm actually feeling really guilty about the whole Galahad thing, so let's bring him back to life. So yeah, Death offers quite a few services. He can actually resurrect fallen party members. So there we go. Suddenly, my conscience is a lot cleaner. Another thing we can do is we can fight him, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So let's select this. Let's let his intro play out. He's got a great voice, a great theme.
Challenge a god, your conceit shall be your undoing.
And here we go. And again, thank you very much for donating for this. So yeah, let's get to this. So our first turn, we're mostly focused on just surviving. We want to set up with, let's see, we want to set up with Miracle Water, which is a unique ability that is on the Chalice. It is going to completely fill our party's BP. And Yeah, and so yeah, we just want to set up with this, get everyone's BP topped off. Let's see, you can Crimson Flare. It doesn't matter too much what you do because you're probably going to go down. Yeah, and then you're going to heal Hawk. We'll have Herman do this, do that. Yeah, I guess Jamil does that. And yeah, we'll get the party with Hasten Time started right away. So Hasten Time is a pretty good spell. By really good, I mean it's incredibly busted, because what it does is it will end the current turn, and regardless of whether anyone has any actions remaining, even enemies, and it will also give our party a free action on the next turn. And what we can do is, if we have it on 2 characters, we can basically loop it over and over again. There's normally some mechanics in play to prevent that from being abused. Mainly it's high cost at 28 BP with our current setup. But using the Chalice's Miracle Water that we duplicated several times, we're going to have Miriam and Herman alternate between battering the party's BP and casting Hasten Time to essentially keep our bosses locked in a perpetual time loop where they cannot act. And all the while, our 3 others are just going to be throwing out Crimson Flare, like I said, the strongest single target spell in the game. And yeah, we're just going to keep doing this until we burn through Death's 40,000 HP pool. So yeah, Death is one of the game's 4 super bosses. Doesn't look like that right now, but I think it just goes to show just how high grade SaGa cheese can be. And this isn't the only game that features Hasten Time. All the other Romancing Sagas have it too, and it's just as strong. Maybe not as strong as RS3, but still very potent. And just kind of a good rule of thumb in general is if Time Magic is in a SaGa game, it's probably pretty busted. Like, we have Hasten Time here, we have Overdrive and SaGa Frontier. I think the only game where it's not like incredibly potent is Unlimited SaGa, but that game is a black sheep for several reasons. So that should come as no surprise to anybody. All right. So what we're seeing now is kind of a preview of what to expect for the final boss. Kind of a little spoiler alert. But yeah, it just goes to show it's effective and it works. And the Chalice that we got, you're normally only supposed to get 1 of those per playthrough. But with the duplication trick, yeah, we completely changed that on its head. And there he goes. That is Death defeated. Our Dance with Death is complete. Yeah, it turns out he's actually a pretty nice guy. He was basically just testing us to make sure that we could defeat Saruin. So yeah, a lot of characters in this game look kind of scary, like Avi, Pyrex, Death, but they're actually pretty reasonable. So I also didn't mention the Wrong Warp sees a lot of use in the Netherworld. There's a lot of shortcuts we can take with it. There's actually a pretty obnoxious jumping segment we had to do there, but we got to skip that using the Wrong Warp. So, and we can also just take another shortcut right on out of here. So, yep, so that was Death. We got what we needed. We now know where Saruin is, so let's go confront him. We are going to make our move toward the final area of the game. First off, though, we need to take a well-deserved rest for our party to get our LP back up. So let's go back to Lobon. And while I'm thinking about it, go ahead and put the smoke bomb back on, because we don't need to do battles anymore. If we get into any, then we're just going to run away immediately. All right. And yeah, so it turns out Saruin was hiding away in Isthmus all along. There is a little cavern to the right here that we can go to make sure I don't get in any battles. Good. All right. So, yep, we can just wrong warp into the final area of the game. Doing so, we actually skip a few cutscenes. If we skip the cutscene on our way into here, we actually skip a bunch of other cutscenes that play whenever we change between floors. So that's a very nice bonus. And also the enemies in here do not aggro and chase you, so just some deft maneuvering around them will get you past them no problem. All right, so yeah, I mentioned we needed the Fate Stones for the boss we are about to face. Yep, but we haven't gotten any. In fact, how do we even get in here? Because normally, once you proceed up here, you'll get a prompt asking if you want to come up here, but it's only available on New Game Plus. But if we do a wrong warp, we are now in the Fate Stone Chamber. And even better, we can offer up the Fate Stones that we totally didn't get in the playthrough. So we're going to slowly offer up each one at a time. Normally for every Fate Stone you provide, it actually empowers Saruin, and he gets a power boost when you go to fight him for the final battle. If you offer up all 10, however, he gets a tremendous spike and becomes what's known as 10 Fate Stone Saruin. And that's exactly who we're going to face off against. So I believe we have 2 more, I think. I believe the last one is the Amethyst. Okay, 2 more now. But yeah, throughout the game, there's only one Fate Stone we actually encountered, and that was the Amethyst that was found. That one's actually equipped on Barbara. She gets hers through her introduction, but yeah, we didn't even get that one yet. Somehow you're still able to provide them up, no problem at all. All right. So here we go. This is Saruin himself. So he's gonna monologue for a little bit, and Gray actually has a pretty nice line of dialogue. I might let that play out because I think it sums up pretty well what we're all thinking whenever the big bad starts going on and on about their sob story. You know, for a god, you sure whine like a wuss. Kind of says what we're all thinking sometimes.
Puppet of a lord dancing on the end of a string.
All right. So we are not quite ready to do this. We want to switch back to the Minstrel Sword, so we get Festa de Arm. And very important, we need to replace these chalices, which is why I made a few extras earlier on. Just going to double check everything. Their abilities should be good. And most importantly, drop a hot save. All right. So here we go. The one, the only 10 Fate Stone Saruin. All right. So this battle is going to start off very similar to what we did with Death. We're mostly just focused on survival on the first turn and getting set up with Miracle Water. That is not going to work. So yeah, if anyone remains KO'd in between turns, there's a high chance on the next turn that Saruin will cast Reanimate Dead on whoever's KO'd, and that will bring them back up, but place an incurable charm effect on them. And needless to say, we can't have that. We lose control of them for the rest of the battle. So, all right, first turn looks good. Saruin only got 1 action that time. He can act up to 4 times per turn. And yeah, anywhere from 1 to 4. It's pretty random, pretty volatile. And actually, no, I want Herman to start with that. Oh, no. Hasten time, there we go. All right, Empty Glimmer is good. That only targets whoever's in the front row, which we just have Hawk there. All right, great. We got the Hasten time off, so now we can put him in Quick Time Jail once again. All right, get everyone's BP up, and then, yep, begin the loop. All right. So, yep, so this is going to play out pretty similarly to what we did with Death. Saruin, however, has a much bigger health pool. 10FS has 100 and... Oh, he wasn't supposed to do that. 120,000 total health. There we go. Crimson Flare. So needless to say, this is going to take a little while. It's split up into 2 phases. His first phase has 40,000 thereabouts, and once he changes phases, then we're going to have to obviously plow through the rest. So there's a reason I gave Herman and Miriam 4 chalices. There's a very good reason we're going to burn through most of those. We probably won't use them all. In fact, if we reach that point, Miriam might actually get LP killed, so hopefully that doesn't happen. So the only thing that can really go wrong at this point is when we get to the phase transition, he's actually going to end phase 1, or he's going to end the turn prematurely. And yeah, he's going to do that before we get hasten time off. So he'll be able to act again, but it's not quite as scary as the first phase because there's a mechanic that comes into play when we get into the second phase that, okay, here we go. So up here is the phase change. The turn ends early. And as you can see in the background, there's a bunch of pillars that spawn in. Oh, where did my revives go? Actually, no, I don't think I fully revived. Oh, well, I think we'll be okay. All right, let's see. Bird of Fire, Crimson. So yeah, so Saruin is free to act. We're going to pray that he is merciful to us. That could be a problem. Let's see. So yeah, Herman getting paralyzed. Not good. We'll try and see if we can salvage this. I don't know how it's going to go, but just to be safe, I'm going to try and cast Revive on as many people as possible. Yeah, we'll just have you attack, I guess, and then yeah. We're going to see how this goes. Don't know what Saruin's going to do here since he's free to act once more. Let's see, Crimson Flare. I'm actually going to just have both of them cast Hasten Time. Whoever gets it. Not going to lie, this could be going better. I think Jamil does have Revive up. That must have gotten dispelled. Okay, so sadly, I think we're going to have to take it from the top here. So this is one of the perils of this final boss. He can be a little mean sometimes, so unfortunately we're going to have to, like I said, take it from the top here. Let's see. So I'll do Revive. Yeah, basically do what we just did. Yeah, since we have to go through all this again, RJ, I don't know if you want to take over with anything while we get back to where we were.
Sure. We do have a $100 donation from Anonymous. Thank you for that. There's no comment, but greatly appreciated nonetheless.
Let's see.
Let's see.
All right, there he's done. Yep. Okay. Let's see. That. Sorry, I'm a little just trying to make sure I focus on this. I do wish that I casted Revive on everyone. I think I forgot to do that on the first attempt, but that's okay. We might end up going just a little bit over, but we will make it work. Whoops. Crimson Flare, Miracle Water. All right. So yeah, I'm only going to have Jamil in the back buffing everyone. Actually, I forgot to, yeah, I think I forgot to do this too the first time. That's okay. All right, so yeah, I'm having Jamil do most of the buffing since he's in the back row. The Blazing Sword actually, since we're channeling spells through it, actually receives a damage boost based on our formation placement. So yeah, since Hawk and Gray are closer to the front, they will end up doing a bit more damage. So it's just a slight optimization to have our person in the back row just strictly on buff duty, and then switch over to damage when the time is right. Which is now. All right, so let's hope that that phase transition goes a little bit smoother this time. Herman getting paralyzed, or unconscious rather, was very unfortunate, but we knew the risks when we decided to take on this super boss to end all super bosses. Right, so hopefully... Alright, so yeah, here's when he normally does like a little dialogue. That indicates that the phase change is coming soon. Should be about 3-4 more flares, depending on our damage rolls. There we go. Alright, so let's hope he's a little more merciful this time. Let's see what his opener is going to be. Alright, so that won't work. That is a perfect example of what this boss is capable of. I think Deus Ex Machina is actually like one of the strongest moves he can do, and when he does it, he typically likes to do it multiple times. So sadly, we do have to run it back, and I do realize we're starting to go just a little bit overestimate. So feel free to step in if if we need to mercy kill things. I'll perfectly understand that if necessary. So I appreciate the encouragement. Thank you. But tell that to the final boss. He's the one that needs to be convinced. All right. So yeah, do that. Yeah, we want Herman doing the first hasten time, mostly just because he has more LP to work with. So yeah, Empty Glimmer is fine. Hawk has the LP to tank all this. Okay. So, yep, we got him back in the loop. I'm actually just going to play it a little safer here and just go ahead and have him help out with the reviving. Having revive on deck is a nice safety precaution for when we go into the second phase. Sometimes Saruin will he'll be able to dispel the revive, but there's some moves that don't override it and just allow us to. Oh yeah, and I guess if you haven't figured it out, revive functions as like an auto resurrection, so very nice to have when it works. Oops. Okay. So yeah, once again, throwing out the Crimson Flares once more. And we're just going to keep doing this until we get to that second phase. And yep, RJ, don't know if you got anything you'd like to share, or throw it over to you for a little bit if you'd like, or.
Sure. While we're approaching the end of the run here, just a quick reminder of what's coming up next. We have, we'll actually have an interview after this run with Micah and Dowolf, and then we'll have the Grand Blue Fantasy Relink run. We'll have Ogre Battle, the March of the Black Queen, and then after that, Dragon Quest III. So make sure you stick around. Get your donations in for the incentives for that those runs. There's plenty of incentives that have the opportunity to be swayed.
All right, thank you for that. So should just be one more round of Crimson Flare before we get to Phase 2. And it's quite unusual. Usually Phase 1 is the one that goes wrong. Phase 2 is usually not too bad. But yeah, SaGa runs not going smoothly in a marathon. Completely, what a preposterous notion, right? All right. So here we go. Fingers crossed. Oh boy. Please stop. Please stop. Bruh. Okay. Good grief. So, yeah, I'll keep doing it until they tell me not to. So, oh man.
We believe. This is the one.
Well, thank you. I need all the encouragement I can get right now. Okay. So, yep, revive. Okay. Oops. Okay, there we just saw revive come into play. Hawk was able to just get right back up, although it doesn't really matter too much since he was going to get healed up anyways. Let's see. Yeah, I'll do Crimson. All right. Okay, we'll have these two just finish off the revive duty. And then next turn I'll have Jamil use Festiday Arm. And we'll give it another go. Give it the old college try. If at first you don't succeed, yeah, I don't know what happens if you don't succeed. What is this, the 5th try now? But we'll find out. All right. So, yeah, I guess, yeah, Saruin has a pretty volatile move pool. Let's see. Yeah, I mentioned Deus Ex Machina is like one of the worst things he can do because he likes to do it multiple times over and over. The one thing I'd really like to see is like Dark Nebula once we get to phase 2. Like, if we see that, then the fight's practically free. I think that's like all he does if he chooses to go with that option. And yeah, if we see that, we should be in the clear. That's a spell he only uses if we have buffs on our party. And the revive is not only is it used for safety, but it's also used to try and goad him into using that. Unfortunately, we haven't seen it yet. All right. If we see Deus Ex Machina again, I had to open my mouth, didn't I? Okay, this is actually doable. Only 2 people went down. And most importantly, Herman and Miriam are up. So we'll get Hawk to, let's see, yeah, Kingston, and then this. Okay. And then get Jamil back up. And I think we may finally have a winner here, folks. I don't want to jinx it. But if we can get our party fully up, keep him stuck in the loop, then we should be good. So, all right. I think it's safe to say we do have the fight in the bag. The only thing that could go wrong is a severe input blunder, which I have yet to have happen to me, and I'd like to keep it that way. So, yeah, so yeah, I did mention there is a mechanic that comes into play when we come into phase 2. There are a bunch of pillars in the background. For every pillar that's active, it will reduce the total damage and healing dealt across the entire battlefield. For that reason, since we come in with a bunch of pillars, Saruin, he usually isn't too much of a threat. He proved a little different today, but yeah, since it cuts the total damage dealt, his attacks actually don't do as much damage as they normally would. So despite our party being very squishy, we still have relatively good survivability there. And for every time we attack Saruin, one of the pillars will get destroyed. And by now, they've most, if not all, have been dealt with. So now we're back to dealing full damage, and at this point it's just a formality of plowing through the remainder of his massive health pool, which I would estimate is maybe at about 50, 60,000 or so. So yeah, we got a few more rounds of this. Yeah, we'll just kind of let it play out, enjoy the final boss music, and yeah. And once again, if you have anything you'd like to share, RJ, the offer still stands. Feel free to interject at any time.
Let's just keep the hype going for this. It's looking good. I hope I didn't jinx it.
Thank you, thank you. I really do appreciate the support, and I do apologize that this is going... time is on the final save, which will be maybe about 20-30 seconds after the final hit. And trust me, I guarantee the any % after this will be much faster. All right, so once Miriam gets to, like, her LP is flashing red, so that means we're getting very close. Usually, once we're missing about 12 LP is usually when we are approaching the finish line. All right. Yeah, like I said, SaGa runs going smoothly in a marathon. It's apparently a myth. All right. So yep, as we can see, we're down to our last chalice on Miriam. There it is, finally. Oh, jeez. 10 Fatestone Sorrowing living up to his reputation. Okay. So with him defeated, we'll skip the credits. We'll have one little cutscene here, and after this will be the final save, probably in about 5-10-ish seconds or so. Right. And time. Okay, so we still do have the any % run to do. Yeah, since we're a little behind, would like to jump right into that if possible. So whenever we are ready, go ahead and give me the thumbs up, and I guess I'll wait for the overlay because we do need... Are we going to keep time? Like, it's so fast it may not even matter. Just do it? All right, cool. Okay, so yeah, without further ado, we're going to do it again, this time much faster. So yep, I'll do the countdown in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so this is going to look exactly the same at the start here. Yeah, we just... one small optimization I didn't mention is if we change the main character's name, it actually cuts out a few lines of dialogue. So changing the name to something else is actually a little faster. All right. So first order of business. Once again, we're going to get the boat to appear. So we're going to sell off a couple of things. So yeah, just a little bit more than 200 will have us meeting that, and then whoops. Going to talk to you, going to learn Move Silently, and we're only going to dismiss one person. We did Galahad kind of dirty, and I'm feeling kind of bad about it, so let's keep him in our party this time, and yeah, just prove that no hard feelings, right? All is forgiven. I mean, he's a paladin, he kind of has to, so. Oops, got a little ahead of myself here, so we are going to once again do this to equip Move Silently twice. There we go. All right, and believe it or not, we have everything we need to beat the game again. So let's make our way back to the Isthmus Cavern. All right. And so a really cool thing is normally you need to be ER 20 to enter the final area, but the wrong warp completely disregards that. So we're already at the final area. And just as fast, we are coming up on our run back with Saruin. So I'm going to warn you, it's really fast. If you blink, you'll miss it. And it's done. All right. So the way that works, if you do the wrong warp on the second floor of Quietus, it takes you straight to one of the ending cutscenes. And if we ride this all the way, we go straight to the credits. And a very interesting byproduct of this is we can't actually skip the credits here. You see, we don't have the option to skip it, so we actually have to sit through this for a bit. This is... Oh, shit, I forgot to mention time is on the final save, but that's okay. If we need to cut things here, that's fine. Do you want to go ahead and wrap it up?
I think you have time for your shoutouts, if you have some quick shoutouts.
Okay, yeah. I guess first off, thank you very much for your patience. Thank you very much for having me. First time at RPG Limit Break. Very happy, humbled, and honored to be a part of this. Thank you to the organizers, volunteers, tech crew, audience, viewers, donors, everyone that comes together every year to make it all possible. Y'all are awesome. Very happy to be a part of it this year. Yeah, big shout outs to the SaGa runners all across the world. Yeah, y'all know who you are. Some names off the top of my head, like Reclesis, Sky, Denho, like people that have kind of come and gone, may not be active right now, like Chaos, Bic. Yeah, list goes on. Apologies if I missed anyone, but you know, regardless of your contributions, big or small, like everyone coming together to, you know, for the series that we all love, with your contributions. Thank you for all that. Some of the Japanese runners, like Shigerin, Das, Paraporo, for all their contributions for this game. Yeah, I'm kind of drawing a blank right now. I'm just kind of relieved it's over. So, yeah. Yeah, I think that's all I'd like to do there. I'll be back tomorrow with a hopefully smoother run of Romancing Saga 2 Remaster. So I hope you'll look forward to that. And yeah, if we want to go ahead and close things out, I'm happy to hand things on over to RJ.
Let's hear it again one more time for AurionSkydragon.
Yeah. All right.
All right, everybody, with the end of that run, that is going to be my time for hosting today. I will be back later in the week for another shift of hosting. But for now, I'm going to throw you over to the very capable hands of Zathian, who will be taking over shortly after we run a quick ad break.
My dear friends, welcome back to RPG Limit Break 2024. My name is Zathian. I'll be hosting your next run. Hope this evening is treating everyone well. We're getting set up and excited for our next Grand Blue Fantasy relink run, as well as an interview with Ghost Kumo and PXMacaiah and Dowolf coming right up. So please stay tuned. While we're getting everything set up for the next interview, I do want to mention a couple of the prizes that we've got coming up that are closing just after 2 runs from now. We have a Shin Megami Tensei 5 pin set that's been generously donated, and that's just a $5 minimum donation before the end of Ogre Battle. As well, if you want a chance to win the video game that we just watched, SaGa Frontier Remastered Switch, that is also a $10 minimum donation before the end of Ogre Battle. So get your donations in now. In addition, we've got a few incentives that are going to be closing right at the start of the next run, including choosing the crewmates, the voice language, the main character appearance, and the main character for Grand Blue Fantasy. The numbers are low, and they are ready to be sniped at any time for your will and pleasure. So please send in your donations now. All right, my dear friends, let's throw it over the interview with PXMacaiah and Dowolf. Ghost Kumo, take it away.
Thank you very much, Zathian. Hi, everybody. I am Ghost Kumo, and I'm joined by 2 of my good friends here, PXMacaiah and Dowolf. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm PXMacaiah. I run this game.
The game currently being displayed.
Sorry, I run Artenelico.
Yeah, so I'm Dowolf. I also run Artenelico. Definitely not anything else at this marathon.
I was actually going to start off on asking you about that. So how do you feel about your run that you did earlier today, maybe?
Maybe. Yeah, it went okay. Estelle getting one shot by one of the bosses was unfortunate, but she is Estelle, is what we expect. Love you. Love Estelle. One of my favorite characters in the series for characterization. Not a great set of crafts. Not a great set of crafts.
Yeah, so we had just done a run a couple hours ago of Trails from Zero. It was a good run. I would know. I was there.
You were on my couch.
I was on the couch.
You were definitely there.
Yes. So that is that. So we have you here because you're both going to be running Artenelico, Melody of Alemia.
Yes.
Yes. Yep. Okay. The pronunciation on that one always throws me off, but we're going to be having that tomorrow in the morning around 6 o'clock local time.
Around 6 o'clock.
How do you prepare for the 6-hour run at the early morning?
Just make sure we have something to eat and hopefully have plenty of rest.
And caffeine. Caffeine helps.
Also, we're going to need plenty of water for that run.
Oh, sure. There's water in caffeine.
Not always.
Where are you getting your caffeine that there's not? Please don't just straight eat the cocoa. You don't eat the coffee beans.
Alrighty. So your last run at this event, Dowolf, was a couple of hours ago. But PX, I believe this is your first run at this marathon in quite some time.
Yes.
What's it like being back on the schedule?
It's honestly pretty good after being here for so many years, as well as being able to show off a game I love and hopefully help a lot of people also love the game as well when we're done.
Awesome. Yeah, so I believe this is actually going to be our second Gust game at the main stage here. So our first one last year, I believe, was Atelier Ryza 3.
Yes.
So we're going back to the PS2 era of the series. How long have you two actually been fans of this series?
You should start this.
I should start. So I think someone introduced me to the music to Artenelico 1, specifically Exec Linka. That would have been back in 2007, 2008, somewhere around there.
It was like a late PS2 game.
Yeah.
It's 2005, yeah.
My first Atelier game was Monachemia. I think I played that before I played Artenelico for myself, but I'm not actually sure now. Yeah, what about you?
So back in 2020, we organized a Gust speedrunning marathon called RTA back on this channel. And that's when I first actually watched gameplay of Artenelico, and I fell in love on first sight. I've heard the games before, but never actually seen them. And after the marathon, it was amazing, and I immediately got into it, and I haven't stopped yet.
Right on. So I think one of the things a lot of people know this series for, or at least Gust games in general, is for a heavy emphasis on music. You have a particular favorite song from the series you want to talk about? Because I know inviting people to talk about music with series like this, you tend to get a lot of variety of opinions and very passionate ones.
My favorite song in this entire series would be from the second game. It's a hymnos named Hartashiel Melanas Walashia, which translates roughly in English to love the world, beloved people. It's a beautiful song about just loving humankind and everything.
Yeah, and my favorite one is from Ciel no Surge. It's Query pa access pa crans, or just query access crans is usually what people call it. And I'm not going to try to I'm not actually sure how to translate that. That is in another. There's multiple conlangs in this series, and that is in one of them, which is basically someone decided to looked at SQL, as in the query language, and decided to go, I wonder if I can turn that into a spoken language. And now that I have made every single computer scientist in the chat just do a spit take.
It's not even a spoken language, it's a sung language.
It's a sung language, yes. Yes, we are singing songs to SQL queries, and it's glorious.
So basically it's kind of like a near thing where they just made something and into a song form.
Oh, these are full-blown languages with their own structure and lexicon and alphabet and dictionary. You can find all of this various resources.
Probably a little closer to Klingon than
Klingon and Elvish and Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
You could speak this in day-to-day life if you wanted to.
Right on. So with that, I had a question here, and I'm like blanking on it or something. So there's going to actually be a bid war for the bid war incentive for the ending of the run. Do you have a preferred choice so that chat can donate maliciously against it?
Honestly, getting the Shirley ending would just feel the funniest because of how it works. But there's also another bid war for the route itself, and personally, I would prefer Orca route. I like it a bit more.
Oh, I mean, I got to fight for my girl Misha here. You can have Orca. We see the headdress that PX is wearing right now for Orca's headdress, but for Misha's route, we have stairs.
Lots and lots of stairs.
So if you want to see stairs at your RPG marathon,
I'm looking at the SID right over here, and I hear the word stairs, and it's like the first person I'm like gravitating towards.
No, the Sugar building has 63 floors of stairs. This tower got way more floors than that.
Gee.
Oh my goodness, yes.
How do you one-up FF7? Jeez.
Well, vote for Misha and find out.
Awesome. So just as a reminder to all of you, we are currently in another prize block that ran from, I believe, the end of Mass Effect all the way until our next run. We have a few things you can donate for right in front of us here. The bottle is not for a donation, but it is something that is on our merch store that you can check out. But so we have here a couple of Shin Megami Tensei 5 pins. Those can be... I had the tracker on here a second ago. I believe that's a $5 donation.
Yeah, it's right there.
Oh, I could barely see it from you. Yeah, so $5 donation for the pins for Shin Megami Tensei 5. That is up until the end of Ogre Battle, March of the Black Queen. We also have a copy of Romancing SaGa Minstrel Song, which we just had on the marathon, as well as SaGa Frontier Remastered for Switch. Each of those you can enter in for a $10 donation minimum. We have a copy of Bravely Default for the 3DS here. It's like a full-on limited box set here that you can also get for donating $10. You have a chance to win that. And then finally, our grand prize for the first half of the marathon, if you donate $75 up until Live Alive, you have the chance to win this custom Game Boy Advance SP here. We have our lovely mascot Mimi here, hand-painted onto the back here. This was also, I believe, like custom-made with like a specially made LED light on the screen here. And yeah, so that is our prize block for the next couple of runs. Please get your donations in. We are raising money for NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, a very near and dear cause to many of us. So I believe that we're going to go ahead and wrap this up here, and we're going to be sending it over to our next runner in just a moment. But thank you, too, for joining me.
Thank you
for having us.
Yep.
All right, you three, thank you so much for a fantastic interview. We had a couple of donations come in that I'd like to read off from generous people who are donating to the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Mechalink donated $10 with no message, but thank you so much, friend. Cute Cycle also donated $25, no message again, but every dollar counts toward helping with mental illness for those who need. Underclocked Ostrich sent in $10 with the simple message of "Down with the Cheese Revolution." Matthias has donated $10 to Nami, saying, I just got to donate to support a fellow anime game speedrunner and an amazing community overall. Do the anime speedrun community proud. You got this, and may the RNG be with you. Also, let's have an amazing marathon. LC Dion sends in $50 saying, enjoying this very saga-heavy RPG limit break. $50 to take down that banana smuggler. Hurry before they decide to start a BARE program.